Hello, and welcome to this presentation on whether Nando's have the ability to internationalise into Germany. So, for the content for the presentation, we will first go through the overview of Nando's, then the industry analysis, why Germany, and the tariffs and regulations. So, for a brief history of Nando's, it was founded in 1987 in South Africa, serving its very famous peri-peri chicken. Then in 1990, there were 2 additional restaurants opened in South Africa and 1 in Portugal. And in 1992, it started in the UK when Eindhoven family bought the franchise rights. 1995, the son of the family took over its operations and introduced it to its fast casual dining setting. And also then 45 restaurants were opened in South Africa, and they started to open restaurants in Mauritius, Canada, Israel and Australia. In 1997, there were 71 restaurants in South Africa and 46 internationally. When it comes to 2010, the Advertising Age magazine named Nando's one of the world's top 30 hottest marketing brands, and The Guardian wrote that it changed the face of British fast food. Indeed, in 2018, named Nando's as the UK's 6th best private sector employer. For its products offered, it offers peri-peri chicken, so it's a signature dish. It has a casual dining, fast dining experience, so an easy restaurant experience which is suitable for lunch and dinner, and also has its sauces and rubs, which can now be found in stores around the UK. When it comes to their mission statement, they want to bring people together and change lives for customers, but also the communities they operate in, and they want to work hard to spark their creativity and make a positive difference wherever they can. When it comes to the McKinsey 7 S's, for shared values, there is a pride, so a strong company culture. For passion, they love for the brand, food, and customers. Courage, a willingness to take creative risks in marketing and expansion. Integrity, ethical sourcing and responsible business practices. Family, fostering a welcoming and inclusive work environment. When it comes to style, it is people first place at Nando's. It feels people make the chicken, leading to inclusive leadership style. They also have Harambery, which is an award-winning partnership challenging youth and unemployment in South Africa. And since 2012, they've hired more than 3,000 people in South Africa through this scheme. When it comes to the structure, their main activity is the operating of fast casual dining restaurants, both company-owned and franchise, and also have their sauces and rubs, which helps with distribution. For skills and staffing, it's about togetherness and creating an atmosphere where employees are having an enjoyable time, as well as pushing themselves to see what talent they have and what they can bring to Nando's. They also need their culinary expertise, which is done through programs, as well as customer service for waiters, which is done online and also on the job. When it comes to systems, they have their franchise system, which is done in certain areas such as the Middle East and Southern Africa, but they also have company-owned, which is more in the UK. For strategy, Nando's strategy is to add value through investing for profitable and socially responsible growth. They aim to do this through a globally defined, unique and distinctive brand, a cohesive and expanding international business, high quality products and service to their customers, protecting the future of Nando's by pursuing innovative growth, opportunities and risk management, greater engagement with their digital consumer through investment in technology, and reinforcing their values and employment engagement. For their financial overview, they are a very healthy company with a gross profit which has increased from in 2024. The operating profit is also increased in 2024. However, they are still at a net loss. However, that net loss has decreased in 2024. The main reason for this is the revenue increasing quite a lot, and but their current assets has decreased. And that is due to less cash in hand, which has decreased by about £40 million in 2024. However, the non-current liabilities has decreased mainly due to loans and borrowings, which can be seen on this slide. And also operating costs have gone up slightly, but not as much as revenue, which can be seen that operating profit going up massively year on year. Overall, year on year, still a very strong performance, despite them also working at a loss. Which has also seen them also expand still internationally for some sites, but also mainly expanding in the UK and Ireland. When it comes to competitors, which businesses impact Nando's the most? So we'll first start with the Porter's 5 forces. So for competitive rivalry, it's quite high, as the UK dining sector is highly competitive with direct competitors like Wagamama's. There is also competition from other chain restaurants like Five Guys. You've got pizza chains like Pizza Express, and you've got other mid-range restaurants as well. You've got many independent and local eateries which do serve similar offerings to Nando's, but also ones which do vary, which intensify the competition. For supply power, it is moderate, as Nando's do rely on specific poultry suppliers for its chicken due to they wanting ethical suppliers. However, that doesn't enhance their brand reputation and can mean a higher price point for when they sell their chicken. However, as well, as Nando's is a large buyer, they can negotiate bulk purchasing discounts, which means that this is moderate and not high. When it comes to buyer power, consumers have many dining choices each time they go for lunch or dinner, from fast food to high-end restaurants. There is a price elasticity as people can switch to alternatives if Nando's does increase its prices too much compared to its closest competitors. However, the USP of the peri peri chicken does help retain customers and improve brand reputation and loyalty, which means that the price elasticity is a bit lower. However, it's still viewed high due to how many choices people have. When it comes to threat of new entrants, it is moderate, as the restaurant industry does have relatively low entry barriers, and you're seeing restaurants open up all the time, making it easy for new independent restaurants to open. However, it can be difficult to keep the independents afloat due to the increased cost for real estate, supply chain management, and brand recognition. So it can be difficult for small businesses to compete with Nando's on a local level. Threat of substitutes is high. You've got supermarkets which offer ready-to-eat peri-peri meals from their own brands, reducing the need to visit Nando's. That's why Nando's have created their own rubs and seasonings. You also have fast food chains like McDonald's, and you have even healthier alternatives such as poke bowls and vegan restaurants, and an example of this being Itsu. You also have your home cooking and meal delivery kits to provide convenient alternatives to dining out, such as Simmer and HelloFresh. When it comes to the pestle, for political, you've got the Brexit impact, so we're still feeling the impact of Brexit, with changes in trade agreements and supply chain disruptions. When it comes to the government policies, there is obviously health and safety regulations, employment laws and farm regulations, which do impact operations. However, Nando should be already aware of those and already are taking those into precaution. When it comes to tax, VAT rates obviously do impact pricing and profitability. They do change very rarely, but also they've got to be aware of that as well. Economic, you've got the cost of living crisis, so you are seeing rising inflation and economic uncertainty, which is reducing the consumer spending on dining out. You do have the minimum wage increases, so the high labour costs can affect the restaurant profitability, especially in the casual dining. You have supply chain costs, so fluctuation in food prices, especially for imports, which will impact pricing strategies, especially with the uncertainty for tariffs with the United States, leading to companies already raising prices to get ready for the tariffs which may come in place. For social, you have the changing consumer preferences. There is a much bigger demand for healthier, plant-based and sustainable food options. You have this work from home culture, which has been introduced since COVID, so people are more focused on delivery-focused apps in restaurants. And also ethical consumption. Consumers prefer ethical sourcing, fair trade, and sustainable food practices, which can be all seen online and through social media. For technological, there's been a rise of food delivery apps. Like COVID, you have now since COVID, so like Uber Eats, Deliveroo, and Just Eat has changed consumer behaviour, with most restaurants now being on those apps. You have self-checkouts, which improve efficiency, and also young people do prefer this as it's easier, as well as you have less social interaction with strangers, which sometimes people in the younger do struggle with. Digital payments and loyalty apps, restaurants must be able to adapt to these cashless transactions and have rewards programs to tailor the recommendations to the customer needs and retaining them for future purchases. When it comes to the legal side, you've got the food safety laws, you've got the employment laws and advertising standards. Obviously, like I've said, Nando's are already aware of this. Advertising standards means there is restriction on marketing on unhealthy foods, particularly targeting children, but as Nando's aren't deemed as that, that's where they do have an advantage. For environmental, there is a sustainability and waste reduction, so consumers now do expect eco-friendly packaging. You've got the carbon footprint awareness, there is pressure to reduce emissions and energy uses in kitchens. And again, the vegan and plant-based trends, so there's a growing demand to have the healthier lifestyle. But it's three main competitors in the UK. I've gone for Wagamama's, Pepe's and Slim Chickens. For Wagamama's, it opened at a very similar time in the UK to Nando's, has a very similar style of restaurant with that casual fast style. And also Wagamama's has created their own sauces and meal packs in shops around the UK. However, the big difference is it's obviously Asian food compared to Portuguese chicken, as well as you pay for the food after the meal has been eaten compared to Nando's where you do it before. Sim Chickens is another fast casual food chain which revolves around chicken. However, it's obviously a lot smaller than Wagamama's, and it's only came into the UK in 2020. However, they already now have 65 stores in the UK, with some being within the restaurant hub to further boost their presence within the UK. Then you have Pepe's, which is the closest style of food to Nando's with the same hierarchy of spice when it comes to choosing your chicken. However, it is a fast food option compared to Nando's style of dial-in. And on top of the Pepe's, Pepe's now has their own bottled sauces and seasoning, which consumers can buy in-store or online, competing against Nando's own version. So, are they ready to export? They are already in various markets internationally, which can be seen on this map, when they started expanding in 1990 when they went to Australia, and their final adventure was in Saudi Arabia in 2016. So for their strengths, they have a very strong brand name and recognition within the countries it operates in, especially the UK, has their very signature products and flavours with their peri peri chicken. They have a strong digital marketing presence, so it tailors it to the audience, and they feature very famous UK celebrities and influencers on those ads. They have ethical and sustainable practices, so they are committed to free-range chicken, and also they do source all their chilies from Mozambique, Malawi, Zimbabwe and South Africa. For weaknesses, quite limited menu variety. They focus on chicken. They have more of a premium pricing compared to other fast food chains, and there is an overdependence on key markets, so the majority of their revenue does come from the UK and Australia. For opportunities, menu diversification, they need to include more plant-based options to appeal to a broader audience, which they are starting to do with halloumi and things like that. You then have the technology side, which they need to keep on honing in on that digital ordering and click and collect to get more customers into store or buying food on the way home compared to going to other fast food restaurants, which could be a lot quicker. When it comes to threats, intense competition, they're competing against various restaurants all over the UK, and economic downturns, again, quite uncertain at the moment, so those higher menu prices could be a disadvantage, meaning that consumers will go to KFC or McDonald's as it seems cheaper. So why Germany? It's due to the psychic distance, as the UK is very similar to Germany as well as close by. On top of this, Germany is the second biggest partner of exports for to the United Kingdom in 2023, showing there is already good trade routes open to the UK from Germany. However, Nando's will be the international among others, so getting into the market would be difficult if they don't take the right steps and target the right consumer base. Starting with demography, Germany have a larger population than the UK with around 85 million, with 78% of that being in urban population, meaning they have a high customer base when it comes to having Nando's in a city or a town. This is important for Nando's as their consumers in the UK are more likely to live in urban areas than the average restaurant consumer. So some other key highlights. Yes, that GDP is slightly declining, however, it's still very, very strong, making it a very safe and stable market to go into, as well as you can see in the dark blue on that table there, consumers of Nando's are wanting to be in large cities and cities with over 1 million inhabitants, and obviously mega cities as well. On top of this, unemployment is a lot lower than it is in the UK, and as Nando's users are more going to be in the high income area, this graph kind of infers that hopefully Germany population will have more disposable income compared to the UK. So when it comes to infrastructure, Germany has very strong transport links throughout the country and getting goods into the country through air and trains. This means it will be easy to get goods imported into Germany to start setting up Nando's there. It also reduces the cost of Nando's needing to implement any infrastructure in the future to make transporting goods easier. Delivery is also a very strong point for Nando's, as it was the 6th most used restaurant delivery service in the UK and is popular amongst Gen Z. Meaning there needs to be good road infrastructure in those urban areas to allow delivery to be an option for Germans as well as eating in. For a trade show that Nando's could go to, there is an international trade show in Cologne called Anuga, which runs every 2 years, which will be helpful for Nando's as they can build a relationship with suppliers within the country to mitigate the cost of imports, as well as getting the Nando's brand and food out to a wider audience, especially as it is the #1 trade show for the food and beverage industry. When it comes to the pestle analysis for Germany in political, they have government regulations. They have very strict health and safety regulations, including hygiene standards such as the HACCP and food safety laws. In tax policies, they have VAT on food vary, so 7% for eating, 90% for alcohol and other items, which all impact for the pricing for Nando's, as it is predominantly eat-in, but also you also have the takeaway option as well. When it comes to the labour laws, Germany does have very strong laws in this, including minimum wage requirements. So currently it's 12.82 euros an hour in 2025, which will increase the operational costs. When it comes to economic, you have the cost of living crisis there as well. So since COVID and the Ukraine war has led to rising inflation, economic uncertainty, and that will increase operation and food costs, which will pressurise margins and can reduce consumer spending on dining out due to becoming more expensive. And when it comes to economic growth, yes, Germany's economy is slowing down. It's minus 0.3% year on year. However, their GDP is still very high, meaning it's a safer and stable market to go into. For tourism impact, they have very high tourism in cities like Berlin, Hamburg and Munich, which boosts demand for restaurants, and if tourists see a brand they are aware of and can trust, they will stop there. When it comes to social, you have changing consumer preferences, so an increased demand for healthier plant-based and sustainable food options. Work-life balance, they have very busy lifestyles in Germany, so they do demand for delivery, takeaway and quick service restaurants, which does suit Nando's, as well as they are an apps like Deliveroo in the UK and have experience in that market. Technological, so you have the online ordering and payment options. So since COVID, platforms like Lefandrio have changed consumer behaviour, with most casual dining and fast food restaurants being on those apps. On top of this, digital payment options are growing in store, leading to a quicker service in restaurants, which suits the busy lifestyle in Germany. For AI and automation, you have self-service counters, and you also have AI-driven menu recommendations, which improve efficiency, which is what it's all about in Germany. And also they are quite hot on social media influence, so online reviews, influencer marketing and TikTok trends drive restaurant popularity, which does suit Nando's, as their consumers have a higher social media usage than the average. For legal, food safety laws, there's strict regulations on food preparation, hygiene and allergen labelling, impact operations. Employment laws, you have regulations on wages, working hours, and also they're quite hot on data protection, so restaurants handling consumer data for reservation or delivery must comply with the GDPR. For environmental, you have sustainability trends, so restaurants are encouraged to reduce food waste, and regulations to promote energy efficient appliances and waste management systems. This helps Nando's, as their infrastructure is already in place for their environmental sustainable practices, leading it to be cheaper to internationalise to Germany compared to others. So when it comes to watch out, so what is the competitive landscape in Germany? As you can see, the industry revenue is on the rise, with two of their main competitors, I argue, will be Saucilatos, which is a Mexican restaurant based in Germany, which is similar to Nando's in terms of the fast casual style, but it has more of a bar area as well as food. It's a bit more of a social area as well, where you can buy drinks and things like that from as well. If you're looking more on the chicken side, you have Mr. Chicken, which is set up by two friends when they were in uni and they wanted someplace quick and easy to go grab a bite. This is more similar to Pepe's and Sim Chickens, as it's a bit more of a fast food option. It also has beef options as well as chicken, so it does have a little bit of variety and a bit of a better variety in terms of meat when it comes to Nando's. So when it comes to tariffs and regulations, what additional costs will Nando's face when it comes to exporting to Germany from the UK? As the UK is no longer in the European Union, free trade between the countries could be difficult. However, as seen from Germany being the second highest export location for the UK, trade is still very open. This is down to the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, or the TCA, as this ensures that no tariffs or quotas are applied to goods being exported from the UK to Germany, provided the goods meet the rules of origin. However, as Germany is within the UK, any trade deal later negotiated by the UK has to be done through the UK and not through a singular country within the EU, such as Germany. So to conclude, Nando's is ready to internationalise, as they've done it many times before, and Germany is a very good market to go into due to the demography of the people there, and also it's a very safe country to go to, which will reduce have a good risk management when it comes to it, which is key for Nando's. And on top of this, as this is in the mainland Europe, basing it here will mean that then they can go to various other places in mainland Europe, such as France, Spain and Switzerland.